This video is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research.
Whether you believe them or not, giants are one thing that every civilization in history agrees on.
We're gonna take a trip to London and meet a rapper named Young Diz, who just got released from prison for doing this. I'll give you a second. You thought Diddy was bad, he still is. Stop playing games. But today we're gonna go over to Equatorial Guinea because they just had a similar Diddy scandal with a man named Balthazar. Now, Equatorial Guinea is a country in Central Africa. They got presidents, politicians like everywhere else.
Welcome back to another episode of Quik Reaction TV. Smash the like, subscribe, and rock the bell so you won't miss an upload. Man, oh man, I got a crazy one today. Let's get straight to it. Quick!
This was the real-life Homer Simpson, and it's quite disturbing. In 1969, before The Simpsons premiered, something strange happened in a small town in Oregon. A power plant worker named Hugh Jass disappeared without a trace. His co-workers described him as a heavy-set, balding man who was obsessed with donuts and worked in nuclear safety. But here's where it gets disturbing. Hugh's last day at work, he reported a serious safety violation. Something about glowing green waste being dumped illegally. The next day, his desk was cleaned out and his house was empty. When investigators looked into his employment records, they found nothing. It's like Hugh never existed. But in 1887, a retired security guard from the power plant finally revealed the truth. The plant owner, named Warren Peace, had been dumping radioactive waste into the local water supply for years. Hugh discovered the truth and threatened to expose everything. The night Hugh disappeared, security cameras caught him being led to Warren's office, but he never came out. 3 years later, his wife named Amanda Hugg wrote in an article how sweet Hugh was, and she later sued the nuclear company for approximately $69 million, but the court only granted her $6.02.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
In real life, Homer was smart. It's messed up. They gave her $6.02. Hope Mr. Burns ain't had nothing to do with that.
Release the hounds.
You thought Diddy was bad, he still is. Stop playing games. But today we're gonna go over to Equatorial Guinea because they just had a similar Diddy scandal with a man named Balthazar. Now, Equatorial Guinea is a country in Central Africa. They got presidents, politicians like everywhere else. One of these politicians is named Balthazar, and he's pretty high ranking. But see, Balthazar had a problem. He was under investigation for stealing money. I said, all right, cool. We're going to search your house and all that. Balthazar said, you going to search my house? They said, yeah, we're going to search your house. We're going to search your office. So they searching through Balthazar's house, his office, and all that. They find a couple of CDs. They said, Balthazar, you got about 400 of these CDs sitting here. What indies? Balthazar said, too late, they already popped them in. 400 videos of him wilding in 4K. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, it can't get any worse than this. Well, let me give you a little warning. Us Africans like to do it big. So be prepared for a few twists. First one being, they started to recognize some of these women. Some of the many women, wives of prominent government officials, generals' wives, royal family wives. Remember when I said it was going to get worse? It's going to get a little worse than that. His brother's wife, the president's wife, his cousin. The government said, Balthazar said, the TikTok are not finished. Let him just get all the bad parts out the way. Thank you, Balthazar. What makes this story even weirder is all the women in these videos were willing participants, like seemingly having a great time, which is better than the alternative, but it just genuinely confused people. They're like, how much game does he have? And this is where the story takes a split from Diddy's story. Diddy, some people consensual, some people not. Diddy, go to jail. Him, all consensual. So it gets you asking, wait, did he do anything wrong? Well, it had people asking the same thing, which made this scandal kind of backfire on his political opponents because all the tapes were leaked, which had most people, of course, saying, yo, Balthazar, you wildin', like you shouldn't be doing that. But also, why are we seeing the tapes in the first place? Who leaked the tapes? The government said, what? People said, what? We can not like him and not like you at the same time. Did y'all leak the tapes or not? The government said, we didn't think you was going to ask that. You're making some good points, but what if I tell you he's a criminal? So the government switches tactics, namely the vice president, who says they're going to investigate Balthazar for public safety concerns. Like Balthazar with all those people? Ew, what if he spread something? Everyone's like, I'm going to also investigate who released the tape and try to suspend them. People are like, okay, that's better. But people also figured he wasn't going to do anything about it. Now, pause for a second. Look at that man's beard. He has never judged a book by its cover, but any man with this beard, this hairstyle, these glasses, and says I'm an African politician, he's stealing money. And well, he's stealing money. And well, here's where it starts to get wicked. See, this story is a little deeper than it seems. Equatorial Guinea has been caught up in its share of corruption scandals, namely the vice president and his dad, the president, stealing money from the people. In fact, the United States, France, other countries seized hundreds of millions of dollars from the vice president, saying, yo, you embezzled and stole this money. We're going to return it to Equatorial Guinea. Someone in the comments let me know if America and France return the money to Equatorial Guinea. But anyway, the thing that a corrupt politician is scared of the most is losing an election. Because one, they won't be able to steal as easily. And two, their political opponent they usually lose to sends them to jail. Balthazar's family is a huge rival of the vice president's family. Are you keeping up so far? Vice president and his dad, the president, are scared that Balthazar and Balthazar's dad, who's a high-ranking official, are going to take their job. So people suspect that these tapes were released to make Balthazar look bad. And well, they made him look bad. But then the tapes kind of backfired because the president and the vice president started noticing something. Every time people brought up Equatorial Guinea, it would be about Balthazar and the tapes. The vice president's like, no. We a small country. We trying to build our fame in other ways, which is very important in the world stage, which is why governments fund Olympic athletes and anything that makes the country look good. When you think South Korea, you think, oh, they have some pretty good K-pop bands. Nigeria, sensational Afrobeats artists, Nollywood movies. Now, it's not all these countries have to offer, but it gets you thinking about the country. So Equatorial Guinea's government fears asking the world, yo, have y'all heard about Equatorial Guinea? And people saying, oh, that's the one with Balthazar. Damn. So they suppressed the tapes super hard. While the damage is already done, Balthazar's probably cooked. Also, he has a wife and 6 kids, so that's kind of sad.
Yo, drop one word in the comments to describe Balthazar. I say diabolical, and I know all of the boyfriends, baby fathers, husbands, and fiancés alike.
Nasty bitch.
Psst. Hey, tap the like button if you don't stink. Hit subscribe if you're feeling the content. And don't forget to comment your comments. Special shout out to all my channel newest subscribers. Welcome to the crew. Now let's get back to it. Quick!
We're going to take a trip to London and meet a rapper named Young Diz, who just got released from prison for doing this. I'll give you a second. Now I know what you're thinking, how could he possibly get released? Well, let me explain. See, Young Diz had a problem. He was always getting in trouble for attempted and having, which you absolutely cannot have in London. So the police was always watching him, especially because of what he rapped about, pure and utter violence. Details about the stuff he did, supposedly. But whether he did these things or not, his lyrics were enough to give him the nickname the Devil. Think about that for a second. Not Run Down Billy or Chase Him Down Ted, just straight up the Devil. This man really walked in the studio and said, 2 of my songs got taken down because CJ's mom kept crying. Tell her I don't care that her son's not there anymore. I don't care that he had his whole life ahead of him. I laughed when I saw the pictures of her at the funeral. Now, the Devil nickname is probably not that surprising, right? Well, let me tell you something even more surprising. The BBC was doing a segment on gospel drill music. Drill musicians trying to turn their life around. He shows up, pulls up to church, posted like this. They went to one of his friends. They said, what you think about your boy going to church? His boy said, since when is it so wrong for somebody to change their life around? The interviewer said, you know what they call him? His boy said, yeah, it's a little ironic that his nickname is Satan. He be terrorizing the neighborhood. What are we talking about? The interviewer said, Young Diz going to church. His boy said, what? Oh, yeah. And well, Young Diz was welcome. There was a little extra security because folks were still wearing their shishis because, you know, they in the trenches. But other than that, everything went smoothly, including the gospel drill performance. So here's where it starts to get wicked. Police get a report. This report. So they call Young Diz. They said, Young Diz said, the police said, come here. So he pulls up. He said, how y'all know it was me? They said, you posted on Snapchat. He said, I did. Let me see. That's my username. Yeah, that's okay. They said, and your voice, stupid. They take his phone and they play the whole video. And Young Diz recorded everything he did. So how it went was Young Diz and a couple of his mates went over and they took some person of the age 16. They had some problems with him, so they made him take everything off and proceeded to put the pause on him, basically embarrassing him for Snapchat. Young Diz then takes boiling hot water and threatens to on the dude. Now, this is classified as more than just assault. They took somebody against their will, so it classifies as this. And this, because of all the little extra stuff they're doing, making him take everything off, cruel and unusual punishment, that type of stuff classifies as this. So they said, we're giving you 23 years. Young Diz's lawyer walked in and said, hold on. They showed him the video. The lawyer said, 23 years, that's not fair. But he was released after only 5 because UK jails were getting overcrowded, so they decided to release a bunch of people. Now, I know it sounds bad that they released him, but it makes a little bit of sense, because what he did was terrible. But even though what he did classifies for these words, it like barely makes the threshold. I guess the courts figured, okay, he threatened someone, put the pause on them, filmed them. It's a little bit obvious that they slapped these charges on because he was on the police's list. Like you see in America happening to famous rappers that the police are locking up. The same thing was happening to drill rappers in the UK. I don't know if it's still happening now. That being said, even though rappers are being targeted, I think it's really interesting that nobody, including myself, is really saying anything about it. Why? Because the title's like this. Because what Lil Durk is in for, boy, what you wanted to say. If they give you 40, God bless. But again, the courts decided in his case specifically, 5 years was enough time for what he did. And how he behaved in prison plays a huge factor in all this. As you can see outside, he seemed like he was trying to change his life around. So the courts were like, he didn't do anything inside. Maybe he's, following God. And this is what I'm gonna need from my folks in the UK. I need y'all to tell me who is y'all's wildest drill rapper, because we got King Von. So when I was reading the stuff Young Diz did, I was like, that's not good. But they still debating about how many people King Von. They said, well, in this song, he talked about 3 people, so add that to the total. Is that 8? No, it's 9. Bro, so give me the wildest London drill rapper in the comments, because I heard South London be wildin'.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
we don't care.
Jerry.
I know this might sound crazy, but I don't like drill music as a genre, but I do like a few drill songs. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Do y'all like drill music as a genre? Is it a L or a dub?
Whether you believe them or not, giants are one thing that every civilization in history agrees on, and a former US soldier allegedly blew the whistle about a classified encounter with one during his tour in Afghanistan. Many others involved have since anonymously come forward and confirmed this same report. Back in 2002, the elite US Army Special Forces, aka the Green Berets, are called in for a high priority mission. There's a well-documented case of an entire US military unit going missing in the Kandahar mountain region in Afghanistan, and these Green Berets were called in to rescue them. The most bizarre thing about this missing unit was that there was no radioed combat initiation, or TIC, troops in contact as it's called. They just full-on disappeared with no trace, which is definitely not normal nor a good sign. The Special Forces team flew within the last known location of the missing unit and systematically searched the area for days. They were starting to give up hope when one day they spotted a distant trail that went up into a mountain, and they decided to check it out. A mysterious mountain trail in the middle of a remote desert in a war-torn country. What could possibly go wrong? As they got closer, they found bits and pieces of infantry equipment, torn uniforms, and eventually shattered bones. They kept going up the trail with their weapons drawn until they reached a plateau at the top. Scanning their surroundings, they see multiple cave entrances all around them. As they slowly edged closer with their aim-down sight fully held, they noticed something on the ground that told them they were not welcome here. Human body parts scattered all over the place. They very clearly found what caused their infantry unit to go missing. A troop noticed a bit of movement inside one of the caves, but before he could react, a huge spear came hurtling out and went right into one of the soldiers named Dan. Before any of the Green Berets could even register what just happened, an enormous red-headed, red-bearded man about 13 feet tall comes running out screaming. The giant pulls the spear out of the soldier's body as the Special Forces team's training kicks in, spraying the creature down with a non-stop barrage of gunfire. After about 30 seconds straight of spamming the trigger, the giant collapses and the entire squadron is speechless. They can't even process what just happened. They call in 2 helicopters sent to retrieve the downed soldier as well as the giant's body. While loading it onto the chopper, the team notices that along with its distinct red hair, it also had 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot, and weighed about 1,500 pounds. A genuine giant, double the height of Shaq in the mountains of Afghanistan, just like we've heard time and time again in the ancient myths of our ancestors. This account account was then reconfirmed by the C-130 pilot who picked up the remains from the Afghan airfield to an undisclosed research lab, who distinctly remembers the 6 fingers, the red hair, and the gargantuan body. Even the original after-action report, which infantry units need to submit after an encounter, had all of this info before getting redacted, classified, and NDA'd by everyone who was involved. But eventually, one of the soldiers part of the operation, who goes by Mr. K, anonymously came forward about the event in 2016 to bring the truth to the world, with rumors claiming it's currently being held and studied at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, where the most top secret discoveries like the Roswell UFO crash are sent to. Obviously, you know this is far from the first time tales of giants have been told in our timeline. It is one of the, if not the most common mythical creature in history. The common rebuttal to which is, oh, it's just a natural human inclination to imagine beings that look like us but are also bigger than us, which honestly sounds a bit like a case of backwards rationalization to me. Hey, it could be the case, but the list of historic accounts is virtually endless. We have the Nephilim in the Bible, the people of Od in the Quran. The ancient Egyptians depicted them in countless carvings and drawings. The Greeks had the Gigantes, Hyperboreans, and just way too many more to even list. Native American cultures all speak of a time when giant humans roamed the earth. The Sumerians had the Anunnaki, who bred with humans and birthed giants. Ancient Hindu mythology had the towering Vedas and deity as beings. The Aztecs had the 6 giant sons of Mixcoatl, who populated the earth after the flood. You get the idea. Every culture in history had them to some degree, bar none. Even the Paiute tribe of old America had the oral tradition of the Siteka, a legendary tribe of red-haired, cannibalistic giants with 6 fingers. Sound familiar? Whose remains are rumored to have been found by miners in Lovelock Cave, Nevada, perhaps the distant cousins of our Kandahar giant. Now, this story leaked by the US Special Forces soldier, he insists is totally real, just super classified. Whether it actually happened or not, we can't know for sure, so your free-thinking mind can make the call of what you choose to believe. Could the giants of our past still be living in small pockets among us, knowing they'll be hunted down for the safety of our species if they ever made themselves known?
Well, Nephilim were real, so why would the government tell us that they did capture a giant? Y'all think this is cap, or y'all think it's fact? Let me know down in the comments below. There it is, Quik Crew. Thanks for chilling to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe so we can kick it again. And remember, keep God first, respect your parents, and love your kids. And I'll see you in the next vid. Quik!